Hey, boys and girls. So I was accosted at about 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. last night with a new video by my friend, Sal Cordova, my good buddy, Sal.
You know, there was a debate on Myth Vision yesterday evening. Professor Jennifer Bird and somebody named Sela Cordova. I kept wondering, are they related? But then I realized, well, everybody with the same last name are not related. So I thought, odds are no.
Damn. Yeah, Cordova wasn't that like on? Oh, what the fuck am I thinking? Deplane.
Well, that's Hervé Villechaize, but
no, but there was
a car like Ricardo Montalban did a car commercial.
Oh, was that it? Okay, that's how I made the connection. So yeah, I didn't pay much attention to that.
Something rich Corinthian leather.
Okay, yeah, there we go. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was something Cordova. I have no idea. Anyway, giving stupid energy a better bang for her buck, part 1. However,
that's a poor way to word something.
I don't think Sal did a very good job. Well, it was clever. So this one is called Swhore Energy Bigger Bang.
Can I intercede here that there was a model of car called the Chrysler Cordoba with a B.
I think Montalban did a
but because he would talk about its rich Corinthian leather.
Yeah, okay.
But they were produced in 1970, and apparently there was a big gap, and then in 1975 through 83. Look like big tanks of cars.
Yeah.
You know, those 1970s models.
Yeah. So I started at 3509 here. And,
so who's that a picture of?
That's Rebecca. He has her on his cell secondary. He has 2 computers for some reason. If you use 2 computers on StreamYard, I think it improves your performance a little bit.
Okay, we need to get an invitation to David, don't we?
Sure we do.
Yeah, come on in, David, if you can. You might have to work on a Saturday.
Oh my God! You mean we have a viewer? But no, if we make him a guest,
we have a viewer.
If we make him a guest, he won't be a viewer anymore.
No, I'm considered a viewer, because I keep YouTube open.
Yeah, 3 of us.
Yeah.
So you, and David are the only ones watching this thing.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm hoping Swhore Energy watches it later. So, anyway.
Yeah, but doesn't she like work late nights at a bar?
I have no idea.
Or something.
I wouldn't doubt if that person was a molecular
Danish
biologist.
debater is here
with a laboratory. Oh, Danish debater, hi. So
I just wonder what her story is.
Swhore Energy knows way too much.
Yeah, she's very funny. She's very smart, and I just wish we could get her
to come on
to talk science and other things.
Yep. Anyway, so she's only made brief appearances on Praise's channel, and we don't want that kind of appearance.
Yeah, we just want her to not even necessarily her on camera, just her avatar and her opinions and information she has to share.
Right. So anyway, this whole thing started with let me hang on a second. Let me make me bigger. Okay. So it started about, okay, so he talked about her name for a long time, and then he told some Vegas hooker story, which I fast forwarded through, and something like that. I'm not sure how that relates to the question, but here's the question.
Well, meaning, this is what I call the problem with Brandolini's law.
Okay, so I got a whole bunch of stuff before that. But anyway, so this apparently came up during a debate with JF and who else was debating? Who was the other partner? There was somebody else there.
Yeah, got me.
Somebody who we know. Anyway, they had a debate on, I think, modern day debate, and Ms. Energy asked this question. Let's see. Let's see. I'm not sure if he's showing the whole thing, but asked about these microspheres or proteinoids, right? And came up with, an idea about abiogenesis, that sort of thing. And Sel and I have this in common. If somebody throws something at us that we don't know, it really gets under our skin. I mean, it just bothers the hell out of us until we go and look it up and figure it out, right?
Uh-huh.
So Sel had never heard of these proteinoids and microspheres, and to be fair, hardly anybody has. So, anyway, so that came up. But I've got a bunch of clips here. I guess for some reason I wanted to listen. Oh, here we go. No, I guess this is the same thing. Well,
like that. Listen. Sometimes you're not able to deliver the best answer you'd really like,
right?
Because you just don't have time. You don't have your textbooks open.
Because you never heard of
Google to check out references, and so you do the best that you can. So, let's try to walk through her question. So, first thing is microsphere. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to clarify what do you mean by microsphere. So, if you Google microsphere and abiogenesis, you come across something by Sidney Fox. So let's just look at this, and I'm going to Google it. Microsphere abiogenesis.
Oh my.
And it's a 1983 idea. Now, there have been since other microspheres that they've enclosed in some sort of I guess, spherical things. So I didn't have a chance to confirm what this meant.
So anyway, we got a paper by Sidney Fox from 1983. And what Sidney did, Sidney Fox is, let's see if I can go to Chrome. So Sidney Fox is a researcher who died in 1998. So he died 24 years ago at age 86. And he was he took off on the Miller-Urey experiments and he took a DL, was it a DL glutamine, I think. And so anyway, he took a
Oh, I knew him. He used to love to go to jazz clubs. DL glutamine, yeah. Yeah, he was a great guy.
Okay. I wasn't familiar with his work. So anyway, that means it's heterochiral. That means it's not homochiral, which is what these guys keep going on about. Everything has to be homochiral.
Is that the same as ambidextrous?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's a different stereo configuration. But anyway, so he also created a whole bunch of amino acids in reproducing or reenacting Miller-Urey's experiments. And he did a bunch of work like that. And then he found that when he heated these things up, to, I don't know, it was really hot, like 180 degrees centigrade or something, that they formed these little microspheres. They clustered together, right? And he thought that they were proteins, and they had a whole lot of different chemical compounds in them that all look like proteins. And some of them were peptide bonds, which are normal, protein bonds. And the other ones are isopeptide bonds of various kinds. So it was a mix. And it formed this little cluster, and it was pretty stable. And then but not only stable, but at the surface of this thing, it had properties that made it, he had bases and acids. And so it had a potential enzymatic properties, right? And so he got pretty excited about that. And later on, they found they analyzed it more, and of course, supposedly pushed back on his idea, but he did a lot of work with it. So what he found was that that he created this really strange little thing that turned into little spheres that you could see under a microscope. So you could actually see these spheres under a microscope. And if you go out to Google Scholar and you search for proteinoids and microspheres, you will find 1,280 results. Now, they've taken these things and they're working on drug-loaded proteinoid microsphere formulations to deliver drugs, basically. Okay. And then we got compartmentalization in protein microspheres. And so there's been a whole lot of work done on these things because we're very interested in this strange chemistry,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and Cell isn't.
So
he's not interested in
let's
strange
just look at one of
chemistry.
them here.
Yeah. So this is the first.
Ancient microspheres, abiogenic, protobiogenic, or biogenic. And let's see what it's made of. And that's it. We don't even know what these things are. And that's Fox's paper from 1983.
Yeah, we know.
1980 what?
1982.
Okay, we don't know what they're made of in 1982. How about looking a few decades later?
Yeah, we know now what they're made of. So it was basically a whole lot of different kinds of peptides cross-linked and hatched together. So it was a complex.
Was he really letting that be the final word?
No.
Okay. All right, good.
He goes on and says a bunch of other ridiculous.
Well, what I mean is, like, he looks at an article from 1982 and goes, "We don't even know what that is, guys. Okay, on to the next subject."
Right. That's
that
why.
That's
why
well, see, there's a error checking mechanism, not an error check, just a research checking mechanism in my brain that says 1982. That's quite a while ago. Maybe they've come up with something since then because people are always doing lab experiments and so doing research and all that. So why not look for something from 99, 2015, 2019? Why stop at 1982 on that topic?
Well, yeah, and that was sort of my thinking, and that's why I found this by Hua. On the Origins of Life. This is from 2018.
Sorry, that's the name.
Hua. Yeah, Hua.
I do apologize to the person Zhu Hua.
Yeah, so this is a Hua 2018 paper. And on the Origin of Life, a possible way from Fox's microspheres into primitive life. And my highlighting is bad, but he explains what the problems were with Fox's idea. And then he comes up with a hypothesis about, hey, wait a minute, maybe we've dismissed this too early. And he goes on to, talk about a possibility. So I will put that paper name in my video description. So, I mean, that's what I do. Like, it seems like these anti-evolutionists, that's what I'm going to call them from now on. Anti-evolutionists, all they do is take a quick look and say, oh, it's not homochiral. It's not a modern protein. There's not a modern cell membrane. And, but we'll see a little bit of that. There's Nestle. You could put the link out in.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, we could just have a little morning talk. Wow, we have 7 viewers. This is incredible.
Yeah, we're just having a little morning talk. People. So come on in. If you're like me, you're just now getting the fog out of your eyeballs.
And here's Fox's paper, the original paper.
Of course, that weird dream I had last night still going through my head. I'm going, what the hell was that about? And we have David coming into the stream. Hey, David, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you guys today?
I'm doing all right. A little tired, or just not really tired. Just haven't warmed up yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still early.
Oh.
You guys are an hour. You're an hour behind me at least.
Yeah,
right?
it's like 9:45 here.
Yeah, I'm 10:45 here. So, yep.
I've got a cat in my face right now.
Although I've been up all night, so
Oh,
On the night shift?
yeah.
I'm
Well, that's
sorry.
better than insomnia.
Still doing night shift. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so let's.
So, what are we doing here? Are we talking? We're talking about cells. I didn't get to see the video yet.
Well, this is sort of a combination of a sound audio experiment because I think Speed is using Firefox rather than Chrome
Firefox.
today.
I'm using
okay.
I'm using both Chrome and Firefox because Chrome, when I run StreamYard on it, slows my computer up. And also, I get that echoing thing. I'm going to see if we get the echoing today. We probably will.
I use Firefox. That's what I use.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to switch over from Chrome because Chrome's a memory sucking pig.
Yeah, I never liked that for some reason. I don't know. I've been using Firefox for a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Anyway, okay. So let's see what's going on here. Are we on cell? Yeah, we are.
And so let's look at Sidney Fox's. He was a researcher. Let's look at spheres.
Let's look.
Okay, so it says here, Sidney Fox, 1912 to 1998, was a Los Angeles-born biochemist.
We went through that. We know who Sidney Fox is. Okay, so now we go to.
Can I just ask a little background? Like, what does this have to do with stupid horror energy? Like,
well, no, if you had been listening from the start of the show.
I'm sorry, I had to step away for 5 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, so Stupid Horror Energy posted a super chat message on a modern day debate where Cell was on and mentioned these microspheres and asked a question, I think. I'm not sure if it was a super chat. But anyway,
yeah,
Cell
it was. Yeah, I believe. I heard Sal mention that, but sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so he said he's giving Stupid Energy a better bang for her buck, and I'm giving Stupid Horror Energy a bigger bang for her buck.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. I got the gist.
Okay, so then he goes on to this mystery of life.
Walter Bradley, Charles Thaxton, Roger Olson. I want to tell you, I had the privilege of finally meeting Walter Bradley this past January, 2022. And I thank him personally. I thank Walter Bradley personally for writing that book because he contributed to my return to the Christian faith. There are numerous people that helped, like Fuzz Rana, Hugh Ross, Walter Bradley, Walter Brown, Walter Remind.
Okay, so if science is wrecking your Christian faith, then you're not really a Christian.
Yeah, or a scientist for that matter. Like
right, and you have to have a scientist bring you back into Christianity. I think you got something fucked up here, Sal.
He really is. I mean, he's some
well,
serious
there's a whole class of people like that their faith relies on science, not on the Bible, or not on the actual merits of Christianity.
Right. I think it's almost it seems like to me like Sal has spent his whole life getting an education and all that and doing any type of research that he does, seeking to prove God's existence through science. Right? Yeah. I mean, that's basically what he's devoted his whole life to.
Yeah.
To me. And it's
he will admit readily that you can't prove God doesn't exist with science, but he thinks these creationists think you can prove God does exist, but you can't prove he doesn't exist, right?
Right, but they also, we all know every argument that they use that has anything to do with science and God is just God of the gaps, right? I mean, it's just, and they actually believe that this is like evidence for them, you can't prove that God didn't do this, so that's evidence for me when it's not. That's
and this goes to that proof mentality. They actually think that anytime we talk about evolution, that what we're doing is proving evolution, and we're not proving evolution, we're finding evidence for the hypothesis.
Right. their brain is just their thought processes obviously are just totally different than
Yeah,
a non-believer, right? A non-believer is just
they
so
they think if you can't prove something in science, then 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 it's invalid if you can't prove it. Right?
yeah, it has
If
to
you
be
can't
right.
observe it happening, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's another big one. Yeah. If you can't observe it, then it's not science, and it's not. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, that's creationist mentality because they can go and read the Bible and they can say, well, the Bible proves that God did it, right?
Yeah.
And so they have proof, but we don't. They can observe the Bible. I mean, they can open the Bible and observe any passage they want in Genesis, and that's their observational evidence right there that the earth is 6,000 years old.
Yeah, and obviously, like when they read the Bible, it's like God speaking to them himself, right? I mean, that's the way they treat it. And that's the way they act. When obviously that's not the case. It was written by the apostles or whatever, right? Obviously,
Right. Yeah, and it's as long as we have people that think like this in this country is in danger of not becoming this country anymore. And we've seen some of that in the Supreme Court in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
we know
it's scary.
We're getting a really good idea. We got a good idea in 2016 what a new Republican fundamentalist party is going to look like, and we're getting a really good idea in the last 2 weeks what a theocracy looks like.
Yep.
Because the Supreme Court has way overstepped their venue.
And they just had I just saw an article this morning. It's the Supreme Court in Texas blocked a lower court, said that they could continue doing abortions like for now or something. A lower court made that decision, and then the Supreme Court blocked that.
Yeah, the Supreme Court is running the nation right now, and Biden in the Senate has to push back because anytime one head of the government gets out of hand, and this has happened, I was watching some information on this. This has happened several times in the past where the Supreme Court had to be cut down, and one of them was with Lincoln, and another one I think was with Roosevelt on the New Deal or something. And the other two branches have to basically say, hey, because that's how it works. The three branches are supposed to check each other, and keep any one branch from taking control. That's the idea, the very basis of our country. So, let's see. It says Cell is often Danish debater. Cell is often the subject of your IRE, and I wonder why. Personally, I like Cell, Rebecca, Peter. I like Peter and Rebecca. And I like Cell, but can't stand people like Matt Hovind. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I know what you mean. But Cell is off. Cell produces more interesting content. I'm sorry. So.
Very scientific, which research type stuff, which you are.
Yeah, whereas LPP says, oh, it's computer code.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, time for fucking Gurr to go live, you asshole. Remember yesterday when I tried to have a weather report? An asshole was like 50. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, now, oh God, I can't see his comment anymore. He's like, all I see is white space. No, I can't see a thing. I can't even see his icon. It just looks like he's ghosted. It's like he's a ghost.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah, I can't see a thing. Anyway, okay. So let's see. Let's go on and try to get into this. Where was I? 3155.
That was a great year.
So many others.
CE.
But in that book, it talked about Sidney Fox's protenoids. Protenoids are not.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that book. Okay, so I went out and bought that book. And it turns out that book is these guys are all part of the Creation Institute or whatever. Yeah. And they wrote a bunch of papers on the mystery of life and the problems with life. And I guess they got an updated version with James Tour. I think he contributed and a bunch of other stuff. And it's just a bunch of bullshit from Stephen Meyer and I don't know, Mary Shelley Frankenstein. What the fuck? That's one of their references. Anyway, so we can just discount that book. It's garbage.
So the book is just about the mysteries of life?
No, it's about it's about how abiogenesis research is just bullshit, and these guys are criminals,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they should, they
That's what
should
I meant.
stop
Yeah.
doing
Okay.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so
And that's
there's the
exactly
bill.
how Sal thinks. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you just barely even finish your sentence, and that's exactly how he thinks. Yeah.
Okay.
Proteinoids are not real proteins because they are first made with racemic amino acids. That means you have left and right. The bonds are not solely alpha peptide. They're also epsilon and some other kind of bond. That's bad. They're not necessarily, it invites things other than polymerization. And a lot of these are only 15 residues. They use the word residue.
Actually, he had compounds that were from, let me see, what was it, 30,000 30,000 Daltons, which is roughly 250 amino acids were involved in some of the compounds that Fox made. So it went from like 20 to 250, and it formed this little ball, this little cluster that seemed to be pretty stable. So anyway, so that's not true.
Residue. You could use the word amino acid. You'll see it in the.
But they weren't they weren't what we would call proteins. Okay, and they have problems in that they're probably less enzymatically active. Well, I don't know about that, but we'll get to that.
Literature, they're about 15 residues long.
Nope.
Average protein size, according to P.Z. Myers, is something like 430 amino acids in that ballpark.
Yeah, they're so big. Oh, protein's so big. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see what else we got here.
Proteins, and they're just kind of just basically junk. What Fox did is he
junk.
took amino acids, paste from beans. I think they were beans. So he took biological material. He had to heat it to get it to polymerize, to fuse together. Now,
Fox also made his own amino acids, quite a number of them. Like I think he had about 10 of them, 10 of the most common ones. Those are pretty easy to make, it seems, because they keep popping up, like serine and glycine and a few others.
Now the heating causes racemization. That means if it started in the L amino acid state, the heat, the high temperature causes it to become a mix.
We don't want to start in the L state. I think Fox started in the DL state, meaning it was heterochiral, that, it was mixed, and because he wanted to see what that does. And it is my position that we do not need homochirality. In fact, homochirality would limit the complexity that we would see in very early peptides. And I think heterochirality would initially create a richer complex of chemistry for abiogenesis, for early life. And then at some point, it ends up being that homochiral amino acids are more selected. But in plants today and some animals, we still see some heterochiral amino acids. Basically, we see a mix of amino acids in some plants, and there's not a lot of it, but they're biochemically active, so they do have a purpose. These D amino acids. We're talking about stereochemistry, your left and your right hand. You put them in the mirror.
Yep.
Whatever. You can't turn your left hand into your right hand, that sort of thing. But I think that's an advantage. And these guys think, you have to have homochiral. Well, homochiral came around maybe around 700 million years after the Earth was formed. Something like that, maybe 1 billion. I don't think right away.
Of L and D, that is left-handed and right-handed. And so it was racemic, and then it connected. The connections were not all alpha peptide bonds. You had, I think they were epsilon and sigma bonds. An organic chemist would understand what they were. And so then these things would aggregate and become globules, and he called them microspheres. So this thing, it doesn't resemble.
They actually were microspheres.
A cell at all. So you could see this innocent comment by, I think it was sincere and well-meaning. But this is what I call the problem with Brandolini's law.
Now, he complains about Brandolini's law, and that really blows me away, because every time Cell does a video, it takes me about 10 hours to pull down all the papers and research everything he said. But he's making exactly the same complaint, that it takes him a long time anytime somebody says anything, right? So, it's like, I know you are, but what am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. You know, we all have that problem, Cell. We got to research this shit. But I don't think Cell researched it as much as I did. Because,
Exactly.
I mean,
That's what my thought is. See, I was about to say that prior to saying what you just said, is that when he researches something, he's researching, looking for something wrong or something that he can pin his God on it. He doesn't actually
Right, and-
research what a normal
Yeah.
person would. But yeah, that's what he does.
You're roboting a bit,
Just
David.
surface. Oh, sorry.
You're roboting kind of bad. Yeah, he comes to a full stop as soon as he finds out it's not homochiral, and he never asks any other question about it. Was the title of this stream clickbait? Yes, it was. Spooky. Anyway, because the title of Cell's stream is this: Stupid Horror Energy, a better bang for a buck. So that was clickbait. So tit for tat. Sorry, Spooky. And you scared me again. You almost scared me out of my skin. Okay, what do we got here? 3518. 3518. Let's go to 3622 and see what's happening.
And we had to move on, and I couldn't call him out on this. Couldn't call him out on it. And I said, okay, I respect this stupid horde energy. It's just,
why do you have to call them out on it? It's like somebody comes up with something, you just say, well, I'm not familiar with that. We can, get to it later. I mean, don't worry. But I know how he feels. When somebody comes up with something that you don't know, and you consider yourself a person who's worked very hard to know a lot, it sort of bothers you. It gets under my skin too. So I'm kind of the same as Cell that way.
Reading literature and confronting me with it. But then a scientist of JS caliber is going to affirm it as true. This is baloney. No way that's going to evolve into a cell. First off, the cell is enclosed not by proteinoids or proteins. It's enclosed by a lipid bilayer that may have some proteins in it. But the lipid bilayer is pretty important. It's not a protein sphere. It is a complex of phospholipids with proteins attached to it or through it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, no way a proteinoid is going to evolve into a cell.
Okay. So that's kind of akin to, I've never seen a dog give birth to a cow, right? Kent Hovind.
Yep.
Isn't that kind of the same thing? It's like, it's not going to evolve into a cell. Well, what do you mean? You're going to put it in a test tube and shake it up and it's going to evolve into a frog? I mean, that's how these people think. And if you can't do that, if you can't magically create life like their God did, supposedly, then you're not a scientist. It's like, oh, fuck. Anyway, 37. Okay, I'm at 37, 36. I'm almost there.
My understanding is, and it's been a while since I've read The Mystery of Life's Origin, those things dissolve. You throw water on it and it's gone.
Nope. They were pretty stable. And that's not the case. This water bullshit, that water, like if water dissolved proteins instantly, what in the fuck would your cells do? Because they got a lot of protein floating around in a lot of water.
Yeah.
And I never quite understood where they're coming from with that. And yes, these things have a half-life, they degrade, and that's part of the way they work. Is like if you create an mRNA from DNA, that's going to be the template for a protein. It sticks around for about 48 hours. It has like a half-life of 48 hours in the cell or less. And in the nucleus, in fact, they have a half-life of about 6 minutes. When you splice the introns and all those RNAs pop out, those things only last for like a few minutes and they get broke down. And if they didn't, then life couldn't work because you'd have all this junk building up and eventually you'd have a big solid cell like a tumor and then you'd die. So I don't know what they're talking about with this water bullshit, to tell you the truth. Okay, let's see, 37, 36. Yeah, we'll jockey. We're almost done.
It's made of lipids. Okay.
Yeah. cell membranes.
The Discovery Institute put out a video that said, well,
Ooh.
what ends up happening is
Who did? Who did he say? Oh, the Discovery Institute.
Yeah, the Young Earth Creationist Institute.
The foremost researchers in science today put out a video.
boom, nothing can go in or out.
I hear
And
they have a blog.
if you take RNA,
Okay, listen to this.
I said I hear they have a blog.
Oh, yeah, they do. Okay, listen to the tomb part.
the Discovery Institute put out a video that said, well, what ends up happening is then you just built a nice tomb. Nothing can go in or out, and it's just going to die inside. If you take RNA, package it, put it in a sphere.
Yeah. So, okay. But that's what happens if you have one really clean, like one of their complaints is that we start with pure chemicals. And of course, we can create these perfect cells, perfect spheres, if we start with one purified lipid, right?
Yep.
However, that's not the way it was, because if you do that, you do end up with a tomb, you know, and there's no way in and out. But now if you put a little cholesterol in there and you mix a few other compounds and some small peptides, you know what it does? It forms little pores in those membranes, and you no longer have a tomb. Now you have something that's capable of communicating with the outside. And basically, and there are paper after paper after paper on that stuff. So that's not a problem for abiogenesis. So try again, Sal.
There are no nutrients that can get in, no energy, and whatever energy is used, it's going to consume it.
Yeah, and the whole thing about the like metabolites, I was looking at some papers recently, in fact one yesterday, with it just like the components of the citric acid cycle that creates energy in all life, basically. These chemicals, for some reason, have a tendency to form networks very early, like what is the FADH? I can't think of them right now. But anyway, these things like early metabolism, for some reason, when they mix a bunch of stuff up, they end up with these chemicals that are somewhat similar to the things in the citric acid cycle. And the citric acid cycle is capable of creating these little ATP molecules that energize all the other reactions that synthesize higher order molecules. So, I mean, it's really interesting that at a very, very low level, these certain compounds are something that we start to see. And that leads us to believe there's something there. Yeah, stupid whore energy is here. Finally you woke up. So I did this video for you so I can give you a bigger bang for your buck, because Cell didn't give you enough bang last night. So anyway.
It's going to convert to waste. It's going to just be dead. So you can either take Sidney Fox's definition of microsphere in terms of the proteinoids, or you could take this one that's just either a lipid monolayer or a bilayer, and it's some sort of vesicle, basically. I think that's the right term, vesicle. And you put RNA in it, and then, so what did Miss Energy have to say? She said,
Miss Energy said,
the first life emerged when a microsphere acquired double-stranded genes, which happened when an anticodon stem loop, tRNA, evolved through random processes.
And then tuna evolved through random processes. That's what I see. Tuna? Anyway, let's see. Okay. I have one more clip, and that's it.
In the cell. So again, how's it going to evolve when you don't have any nutrients or energy to be driving this process? If it's in an enclosed microsphere without transmembrane proteins, remember the transmembrane proteins are these little gates that open and shut. They'll discriminate what can go in and out. It's just like a tomb. And I think I said in the debate, this thing's going to, the first thing I pointed out, I said, this thing's not going to evolve. It's going to be basically dead. And I said, that's a testable prediction. So we could settle this and throw some RNAs inside a vesicle. You want proteinoids, try to shove some RNA inside a proteinoid globule of Sidney Fox, or try to do that with just a lipid mono or bilayer and inject it, and you have this little sphere that's on the outside of lipids, and you have RNA in the middle. I predict it's not going to evolve into life.
Yeah, I predict it's not going to either. Because when you start with purified chemicals in a controlled setting in a laboratory, all you're going to do is show one particular part of the network of reactions that would be necessary to create life, basically. Is that understandable? That the reason that we start with purified chemicals is because we want to illuminate one fucking reaction. We are not trying to make frogs in a test tube.
Yeah, one step at a time, right?
Right.
Yep.
And nobody thinks that that's ever even going to happen. I mean, that's never been the purpose of abiogenesis research. Anyway, so I went out to Google Scholar, and like I say, I got 1,280 results on proteinoids and microspheres. And we take a look, compartmentalization. We could, let's see, I guess it was a big thing back then. Where's my year? Let's see here. Since 2018. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, we got 126 results since 2018. So towards proteinoid computers on the origin of life. This is UA.
You said since 2018 and not 1982?
I said 2018. Since 2018, there's 126.
Wow. What if you change that to 1982?
It changed. For all time, you get about 1,280 papers that have been written on these proteinoids.
Wow.
So I mean, it was good research at the time back in 1980, and it was like, hey, he created these really interesting things, and one of the things that they're trying to do with them now, according to some of the papers I looked at, is they're trying to use them as drug delivery missiles or whatever. Responsive to reduction, design proteinoid polymers. So there's a lot of synthetic chemistry going on, and it's being driven by it's being driven by both abiogenesis research. Well, the results from abiogenesis research is driving the pharmaceutical industry right now. So that's why it's important to have abiogenesis research going on. Wasn't talking about, Fox's group used rather complex amino acids as lysine, leucine, and methionine too. Yeah, Fox's group created, they run Miller-Urey's experiment over again, and they created a whole bunch of amino acids. And I'm not sure what you were talking about, Ms. Energy. I like calling her Ms. Energy. I was going to call her stupid whore, but then I thought maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't know. Anyway, but there's a whole lot more.
I don't think it would bother her if you did.
Nah, probably.
Yeah, anyway. I don't think so.
I think Ms. Energy is more respectful, and
yeah,
and
sounds better. Yeah,
I so much respect stupid whore energy. So anyway, let's see what else we got here. We got.
You just don't want to get that angry face.
Yeah, here's something interesting. Heterochiral Naughton protein folding and solution structure. So there are some heterochiral proteins, and I think they're active in a lot of plants. They've been finding these things. So I mean, and they do tend to fold into something that has definitely got to have some enzymatic properties. But the thing is, shit doesn't have to be purified, and that is the point. Like when they talk about ending up with tar, I get excited because tar is where life started. It was this complex of just like if you look into, I try to mention this on Rebecca's channel. The very first thing I got excited about in my life is the complexity of how carbon can form different structures with just like with some oxygen, some nitrogen, some sulfur. And it can form these in this. I mean, the combinatorial complexity is astronomical, almost infinite, that you can come up with carbon chemistry. And that is what got me excited. And for them, they see that as a problem, because they think it has to be like you have to go straight from carbon to a frog jumping out of your test tube. And they just cannot get that out of their heads.
Yeah.
And fortunately, abiogenesis researchers today are a lot smarter than that. So let's go see here. So Immutable Destiny and I, 3 years ago, I think we downloaded since 2010, the names of like 5,000 papers on abiogenesis research.
Really? You've known Immutable that long?
Yeah, it was, well, maybe it was, yeah, I've been doing this for 2 years. I guess I knew him for about a little over 2 years. So maybe it was 2 years ago that we did this. I have no idea what's happening.
Well, you were saying 2010, you just said.
Oh,
you?
no. We went back on Google Scholar and searched for papers 2010.
Back that far. Oh, okay. Thought you said you guys were looking at that. Okay. All right. I misunderstood. Okay.
So do I have my year set? Anytime. Okay, anytime. Okay, 6,420 results for anytime for abiogenesis. And I'm sure a lot of papers do not mention, so there's a lot of papers out there, and there's a ton of, let's say we got this year, since 2022. 237 that reference abiogenesis. So, but I'm pretty sure you could widen the search to, what the hell could you do? I don't know. Anyway, what else we got going? Oh, let's see. There's John Maddox. We're going to cover that, I think, on the weather report. These are isopeptides. Basically, it's a different kind of peptide bond that forms, which makes me very excited. The thing is, we haven't looked into a lot of this heterochiral chemistry, and we haven't looked into a lot of the things that in Stairway to Life, Change Tan, and that other Carter, I think his name was. Yeah. The thing that they were complaining about is that there was more complexity than we see in life today. And that is the thing that I am not complaining about. That's the thing that makes me excited, that there was more complexity. Because if we just had the chemicals that we have in life today, I don't think life would have got started. It had to be something else. I was talking about proteins and microspheres that form from random joining of simpler amino acids, glycine, valine. I wasn't talking about a modern tRNA either. Okay. Yeah, we pretty much understand that. I guess we'd have to look at the context of what you were saying, stupid or energy. And there's a new paper by Sutherland that gets into the beginnings of tRNA, and he found some really astounding things that if they, depending on the end of the tRNA, if they pick a particular sequence, then the 3 nucleotides prior to that actually pick out nucleic acids, and it matches what the genetic code does today. So they found like this astounding thing with real simple RNAs that looks like today's genetic code. And so you take a real simple, just simple one RNA, and it ends up creating our code. Now, isn't that surprising that we could come up with something real simple and it would start to write that genetic code? And that is the thing that Maddox and his ilk are claiming, it has to be intelligently designed. Well, no, we're finding out that it doesn't. So there'll be more on Sutherland. Anyway, I'm done. I'm done.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yep. Yeah.
Yep, you are a super chat devil, stupid orange. Anyway, so
well, I think that was very interesting, and y'all explained it well.
Good. And our test went well with Firefox, and I haven't echoed yet.
Nope. I have not heard one echo.
I haven't.
Maybe we fix that. Which paper, Danish debater? Which paper? Oh, the Sutherland paper. Yeah, now that I mention it, I got to go find the damn thing, don't I?
That's right. That's the first principle of speed of sound.
Let's see, downloads. I will put it in the description. I'll put the name of the paper. I just got to go find it because it's going to take me a bit to find it, I think. Oh, let's see.
I just joined the Debate Cafe Discord server.
God damn it.
So,
Do I have to join that?
Probably if you have Discord.
I fucking hate Discord so much. Yeah, I
Yeah,
do. have Discord.
Okay, maybe I'm throwing out some boomer energy here, but I just don't know what to do with it.
I know.
It doesn't look like that great of an app, for one
No.
thing. And then,
No, you go. Like
Go
I've
ahead.
gone to some rooms and it's like walking into a fucking bar, on a Saturday night. There's music playing and fucking, and then other rooms nobody's talking about
well, you
anything.
just have to see how many motorcycles are outside
Yeah, I guess so.
to know if you're going to be safe in that room or not.
Yep. So my sister lives next to some newly moved in Hells Angels who created a business, a salvage business on her block, and they're buying up all the property. And the other night they created a three-wheel motorcycle for the 4th of July that sounds like fireworks going off. And they were test driving it at 3 a.m. And
Wow.
my sister, so
That's one way to make your neighbors willing to move.
yeah, my sister is trying to get into a fight with a Hells Angels band. So I keep telling her that's not a fucking good idea.
Not a good idea. Yeah. Wow.
Not a good idea. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's a Fox 2010. Origin. No, that can't be him because he died, right? Okay, I'll find the Sutherland paper for you. I just have to search, okay? Anyway, we can end this. We'll end this. How about that? What do you think, guys?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
totally
you're
up to
gonna-
you.
You're going to do a weather report later?
Yeah, we are at 4 o'clock because I didn't
Yeah.
do one yesterday because Gurr stole my time slot.
Yeah.
There's
Because-
nothing keeping him from doing a 4 o'clock stream as well.
Gurr, yeah, he'll probably do it because, and I sent him an email and it simply said, asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he responded with hugs and kisses or something. And yeah. And I think Gurr Streams is responsible for most of the decisions coming out of the Supreme Court in the last month.
Oh man, not cool, girl.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
cool, Gurr. Not cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to try to join you this afternoon if I can.
Okay.
That should be an interesting discussion.
We would love that. We would love that.
We're gonna do a little
on,
Mad Max. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw that, watched that. The you obviously saw the young kid that joined, right? Some new kid.
Yes. Yeah. I invited him over and he seemed like he was interested, so he might stop in.
Oh yeah, that kid's cringe, huh? Holy mackerel!
Well, seems
A little bit.
not too bad, but the shit they were feeding him, the shit that came from Cox and a bunch of others, like, well, we'll get into it on the weather report, but I have a problem with some of the shit that
Cox was there. Alex Cox.
It might have been Alex Cox. I can't remember.
Was
I
it
got
him? Oh, I didn't know, but yeah, okay.
We'll
I
get
didn't
into
know
it.
that. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
boys and
fine.
girls, we're gonna
Okay.
shoot this in the head because we really need to.
Yep.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Genesis and atheism.